Hi, everybody, and welcome to Otakusphere Weekly, episode 25. That's a nice round number. I'm Karen, and with me tonight are LB.
Hello.
And Lifesong.
Yo, dog.
Is it possible you are even less ghetto than I am? Because that sounds even more ridiculous than when I said it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, listeners, who do you think is more ghetto, me or Lifesong? Leave your answer in the comments. Sal could not be here this evening because he has to study for his Japanese exam, so we wish him well. You know, because learning Japanese is kind of in line with the goals of this podcast, so we support that. If he was learning, like, I don't know, Swahili or something, I might not be as supportive. Okay. So, and I think we all have stuff to discuss for general chat, aside just from the anime that we watched weekly. Oh, and I should say from the get-go, we actually haven't recorded for a couple of weeks because I was sick. So we're going to be discussing, in some cases, 3 episodes at once. So I wrote down the most recent number here on my list of everything we're going to be discussing, but we may end up dipping back into episodes, before that. So just so there's no confusion, I just wanted to point that out. But Lifesong, you had some things you wanted to mention. One of them was the Sword Art Online variety, I think?
Yeah, LB inspired me a few weeks back when he was playing one of the games. I think it was a different one of the games.
Yeah, I was playing Hollow Fragment, something like that.
Yeah,
Hollow so you were playing one of the... That's one of the newer ones, I think.
No, that was one of the older ones.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure where Lost Song fits in, but...
Lost Song is after Hollow Fragment. I remember this from the last time we discussed this several weeks ago.
After Hollow Fragment, but before whatever is out now. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it. I got in, I kind of figured, I'm going to play Kirito this whole game. And then I get in and was like, oh wait, I can play anybody... And they pretty much have every character, like, every named character in the series who isn't dead or a bad guy. I don't know, it's not like the best game ever made or anything, but I'm having a lot of fun with it just because, just for the Sword Art Online nostalgia of it.
Do you get a lot of items?
No, there's very few items actually.
That pisses me off.
You're playing as like the iconic characters. They all kind of have their iconic things. So there's not really too much item gathering. Apparently, like I was reading online, apparently that's one of the big complaints with the game is like there's no item stuff to really care about. There's a little bit, but not very much.
Yeah, I know it probably doesn't speak well of me that I'm like very materialistic or something, but like if I can't collect items in an RPG, there goes like half my interest right there.
No, I get the collecting thing. I'm sitting here in a room full of figures. I get it. So yeah, it was just fun to go through. I haven't completely finished the game, but not the best game mechanics I've ever played, but just a lot of fun. The flying combat, again, not like really well thought out, but I want now that I've played it in Lost Songs, I want to see this done better because I bet it could be a lot of fun.
I'm trying to think of games that have had flying combat. Well, I guess like mech games have, but I really wouldn't know because I haven't played them.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a mech game from like 10 years ago, and it's, except a lot prettier. It kind of has that mechanical feel to it. You really play it for the Sword Art Online aspect of it, but it's fun.
Well, because there's a new one that either just came out or is coming out that's apparently a direct sequel to Hollow Fragment, I think. Wilson actually just picked up Hollow Fragment again the other day because he was close to the end. He's on floor like 92 or something, but he hadn't beaten it yet. So he's planning on switching Lost Song and going right to the next one. But do you think he should play... So you're saying he should probably play Lost Song?
Lost Song, Lost Song feels like it's completely... I don't want to say standalone. You can tell that the background is different, but I don't know that there'd be any reason to play Lost Song for the sake of another game. I have a feeling that the other games that come after it are completely unrelated to it.
Okay,
or
so,
at the very least stand alone from it. It's more of a if you instead of playing as Kirito, you'd like to play as any given character in the cast and just run around and have some fun. The way the questing is set up, I'm playing through it, I'm like, I wish MMOs like this actually existed. Or rather, I wish that when I got into I wouldn't have time for it now, but I wish that when I got into MMOs, they actually work this way. They don't. But
what is it about the questing that makes it good?
The fun idea of, and it's the design behind not Aincrad, but I'm forgetting the name of the Fairy Dance. Is that the name of the world?
Alfheim, I think, is the world.
Yeah, Alfheim is the world. Okay, yeah. The whole idea of Alfheim is there's all these different races, and they're competing to sort of climb the tower, or in this case, to climb through the expansion. And you get rare, unique items and recognition and achievements just for being the first ones to clear certain things. And the whole game is basically, instead of, let's rush to the end game and play the game, it's let's solve all these riddles in these dungeons, and they're not particularly hard in Lifesong. More or less, it's all story cutscenes. But the idea is just really fun.
Yeah, I guess them adding puzzles would I'm guessing it's like word puzzles.
In theory, that's what they are. I mean, in the game, the characters are standing around talking about it. You don't actually do that much. You just kind of go through the dungeon, and you go from here to there, and there's not too much solving that the player actually does. But I wish there were. I wish there were an MMO that were actually like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Okay, I think I get it. So I don't know. Lifesong is available for Vita, so okay. I'm not going to make the mistake of saying I'm going to play it. What I end up playing ends up being pretty damn random. So, who even knows?
I'll probably pick up the newer one, and I'll be able to give you some kind of comparison once I've played both of them.
Okay, cool. And you had something else on your list that I do not recall.
Oh yeah, I also finished watching. I'm going through all the anime I want to finish up for the end of the year. Going through, and I cleared out Kuramukuro, which wasn't airing weekly. I signed up for Netflix and I marathoned it. It was really, really good.
I don't even know what genre that show is. I think we even talked about it once, but I don't remember.
It's a mech show. It's the one that when it first started, everyone's like, "Oh, this is such a bad ripoff of Evangelion," and it really didn't play out that way at all.
Right, so is it good in the sense that like the battles are good or the story is good or just yes, all of the above? See?
Yes to all of the above. I love the characters. I love the fights aren't always a huge highlight, but they're good. I mean, there's every fight. I mean, yeah, they were good. I'm thinking through. Like, was there a bad fight? No, they were all pretty good. And the characters just. They all have their little dilemmas and whatnot about growing up and becoming adults, which is something that, like, it seems like they're going an Evangelion route with it in the beginning, and then they go way, way past that.
Well, if they approach anything resembling a solution to any of these problems, they've gone way past Evangelion.
Right? No, yeah, they do, and I don't know what else other to say about it other than it was just a really solid all the way through. It was a really fun show. Really, really pretty, too.
Yeah, I wonder how much being on Netflix affected that show, just getting people to watch it.
I will see the statistics or whatever it is for the sales at some point, I'm sure, and just want to cry. Because I'm there's no way. I mean, that's like the kiss of death for these shows. Like, I remember Bakudo, seeing the sales for Bakudo with that. It wasn't Netflix, but it was another streaming service. It's like they just destroy anime sales. It seems. I hope it did better, but it's a real shame if it didn't, because it's really good.
Okay, I mean it sounds very promising because like I think for a long time I was really obsessed with Evangelion because I thought it was all deep and
everyone did. It's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay to confess. This is a safe place to confess it. Yeah. But then, the older you get, the more you think about it, the more you're like, well, it just seemed like it was profound because it just kind of threw up its hands at the end and said, these questions are difficult, we have no answers. And at the time when you first see it, that seems really deep and profound. But then when you get older, that's not satisfying. It's like, wait, there are solutions to problems. They may be imperfect solutions, but there are things you can do. And then, okay, I'm going on. Now I'm just like...
Oh, no, you're preach.
I'm just dealing with like decades old issues with Evangelion now. That is like nothing.
I remember going through Evangelion and really liking it, and then getting to the end, and I'm like, wait, people think that here I am. It was my gateway anime, so I kind of had an interesting experience with it where I really, really loved it. But I get to the end, and I'm just like, wait, nothing is answered at all. This isn't. I mean, I enjoyed this immensely, but it is not at all what people were telling me it was going to be.
Yeah, I already had been into anime a couple of years before I saw Evangelion. Although I was like, once I saw Eva, I got like fanatically into it. But I already was kind of spoiled that the TV series kind of had a like sort of hippie art school kind of ending, and then if you want the quote unquote real ending, you had to see the end of Evangelion, which was I got to Evangelion about the time that movie came out, so I was cool with the TV series ending. But I think I the main reason I liked it is because I knew there was an alternative. I don't know how I would have felt if I saw that and like thought that was going to be it. So I'll never know.
I mean, I just had a weird experience with it overall, just because it was my first anime, and I'm like, I wonder if the rest of anime is this bizarre. I had nothing else to compare it to, so I was just really intrigued. I think at that point I was like, okay, now it's time to go watch more stuff. I hope the rest of this has endings I can make sense of.
Wait, so like, are you actually serious that Evangelion was your gateway anime and not like Sailor Moon or DBZ first?
I am completely serious. You want to hear the story of how that happened?
I think I have to now.
I was arguing in World of Warcraft with some buddies I'd been playing with, and one of the guys there was basically saying anime is all weird Japanese shit. I can't stand that stuff. It's too weird. It's too insensible. I just can't do that. And I was actually siding with him based off a little bit that I know about anime. And one of my other buddies private messaged me, and he's like, no, you need to actually watch one of these before you pass judgment on it. And for whatever reason, he decided that anime was Evangelion, and he gave me Evangelion, and I watched it.
Wow.
I'm still not sure, looking back, why he decided that anime, but it worked.
I think I'm too like blindsided by the idea of that being anyone's gateway anime. I don't even know like what to say about that. I think I'm gonna have to process that for a little while.
I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure what to say about that either.
Yeah. But as we were saying before, Kuromakuro is pretty good, and don't let Netflix kill it. Everybody, give it a try.
Yes, please.
Okay, and LB, you had some things you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I haven't finished Code Geass yet. I'm taking a little break from that because I'm getting to the end of the first season, and I'm right before, like, the pivotal moments that kind of flip things, and it's just like, you know what? I need a little bit of a palate cleanser before I do this.
See, I was hoping you were up to the second season by now, and we're like a few episodes into it, so I could kind of hear you trying to figure that out.
No, I haven't gotten to the second season yet. But I picked up a couple of shorter series just to give myself a little break. Death Parade and Flag. And I've been really Death Parade was interesting to me. Seemed like a show that could have done so much more. I really enjoyed it, but it did feel like it could have done so much more.
I should stay quiet about Death Parade because I've had this discussion like a dozen times now. But I'm just curious, what was it that you felt like specifically they needed to expand on, or they missed out on?
I feel like if they had a slightly higher episode count, I think that they could have expanded on things a little bit more. I think a few more stories of people coming to the bar would have been really enjoyable to see. I think that we didn't get quite enough of that. But I mean, and then the primary stories, I just think probably could have been fleshed out a little bit more. I would have enjoyed seeing them spaced out a little longer, but again, that's just my opinion.
No, that's a pretty common opinion from a lot of people I've talked to about the show. It's not my personal opinion. I felt like it was really on point for the most part. I really love that show. I do think they could have expanded on it in certain spots. I don't know that they needed to. Oh, I love the way it ended. So much.
What kind of show is Death Parade? Because I've heard the name, but that's pretty much all I've got. LB?
Death Parade, about a third of the time, it's a story about people who have died coming to an afterlife and playing an and being forced to play a game against each other, and the game is rigged to bring out the darkest side of each person's humanity so that they can be properly judged and determined if they're going to be reincarnated or if they're going to just be sent into nothingness. And then the other 2/3 of the time, they tell these little mini stories about some people who have come to the bar, but for some reason can't be processed.
Wait, and this was the show you picked as a palate cleanser because you needed something to clear your palate from Code Geass?
Yeah, I know. Oh, kind of.
It actually does kind of work as that, just because it's so much more sensible than Code Geass. Believe it, it's not the ridiculous thing you might be thinking it would be.
Yeah,
I think I sort of have an idea in mind of the tone you're talking about. Like, it deals with fantastical things, but in kind of a matter-of-fact way. Like, different...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The main character, well, kind of, is the Arbiter. They make a big point of how he's not human and doesn't really have human emotions toward his job, and that's by design. He's not supposed to. So there's that whole angle. It's kind of from his perspective. So you've got these characters that are putting their lives on the line, bawling their eyes out, and he's just completely impassionate about it. It's really kind of interesting how, I don't want to say too much, because figuring out exactly where they're going with this story is a lot of what makes it so much fun and why it's so meaningful when you get to the end. But it's a really good show. I mean, I want to say the year it came out, I marked it as anime of the year. It was a really good show.
It was a very good show. Like I mentioned earlier, I just think that it needed a few more episodes than what it got.
Is that because you wanted more of the world and the and just more time with the characters, or because you felt like there were story elements that just didn't get tied together?
A little bit of both, but mostly because I wanted them to build the world a little bit more. I really kind of wish they had taken more of a Hellgirl approach and had more episodes in a row that dealt with the world and world building, as opposed to kind of breaking it up and occasionally dipping into the main stories.
See, I haven't seen Hellgirl, but I agree to a degree that I wanted to see more of the world. I don't know how that would have played out in practice. But yeah, it was really interesting, and it was kind of a shame that, like, wow, this universe is incredibly interesting, and it's a shame that it's only a 12-episode show. It would be a great universe to have, not necessarily a great story for a longer anime, but a great universe for a longer anime.
Oh, absolutely.
What year did the show come out, like, approximately? Is it recent?
2015.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'd think I should have heard more about it, given that it's 2015, but whatever. So I'm glad that your palate cleanser turned out to be a good show. And Flag, I don't think I've even heard of. Like, Death Parade, I'd at least heard the name, but Flag, I got nothing. So what is that?
Flag is a really interesting show. It was originally put out on DVD by Bandai, and it got zero fanfare. This was back in when they were releasing series as DVD singles, and so it got released across 4 volumes, and that did the series no favors. But it's such an interesting show. It's basically a war story about a war correspondent being embedded with the Special Forces unit after she captures an iconic photo of a Civil War torn country. What's really interesting about this show is that every single shot in the show is a first-person perspective. It's through the lens of a camera.
Wow, like, on the one hand, that sounds really cool, but I wonder if it would make me nauseous after a while.
I think I remember what Flag is. I haven't seen it. Flag was an original net animation, right?
I don't remember if it was ONA or not.
And it sounds really interesting. I just don't know how I would take to that style. Well, I guess the answer is I should try it, but it's probably not. It's not streaming anywhere, is it?
Not legally.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm probably going to look up more information on that now, just because I'm curious, because I had no idea that even existed.
Yeah, it's such an underrated show. It was really, really good. Nowadays, if you want to try and find a copy of it, good luck. There's an eBay listing up right now with a guy who started the auction up at 90, and he's been slowly lowering it bit by bit. I'm waiting for him to lower it a little bit more so I can jump on it.
Do people, seriously use eBay anymore? I never hear anyone talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, people still use eBay.
If you are curious, some of the Flag DVDs are on Right Stuff pretty cheap right now. I don't know about the whole series, but...
Yeah, it's better to buy the whole series because it's only volume 2 that is the hard-to-find one.
Oh, I found
the other ones you can find on Amazon or Right Stuff really
for just a few bucks.
Volume
2 must have some good episodes in it or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but Volume 2 by itself can command $50 or more.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
It's always a shit. You know what? For me, there's one. I don't know if I'm gonna say the name right. Zammed. No, not Zammed. What was it? I can't remember the name of it.
Zagapane?
No. It was one of the first Evangelion ripoffs.
Raxophon?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I never can remember the name of that anime nor pronounce it correctly. I want to own that so bad, but it's been out of print now for a while, and every time I look at the price, it just makes me want to cry.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, and I almost bought it, because, that came out when I was like, oh my god, Evangelion is so deep and wonderful, but I just never pulled the trigger on that, somehow. Okay, LB, that's all you wanted to mention for this week, right?
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay, now I can talk. Yay! I haven't had anything to talk about lately other than just the stuff I'm watching on Crunchyroll, so this is exciting for me. First of all, I didn't choose to do it, but Wilson ended up rewatching Toradora a week or two ago. So I actually
started watching a little bit of that a few nights ago, just idly just putting it on as background. So it's kind of interesting that he chose to rewatch it as well.
Yeah, we're on the same Toradora frequency in my house and your house.
Exactly.
It is a great Christmas time anime, just for one particular episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I didn't end up watching the whole thing because, he was watching it and I'm often going in and out doing other things, so I would watch an episode here and there. And even watching part of it, though, I still think that's one of, the all-time great romantic comedy anime. It's just... I'm trying to think of something I can say about it other than it's so well done, but I feel like the characters are quirky, but they're grounded, they're not quirky for the sake of being quirky, I just really like it, okay?
I wish I could get my wife to watch that series.
I'm sorry?
I wish that I could get my wife to watch that series.
Why can't you?
Because she has a thing against really extreme stereotypical tsunderes. She thinks that they're really annoying character types. So when she heard Taiga go, shut up, shut up, shut up, she just immediately tuned out and was like, I don't want to give this show another chance. It's like, oh, come on, please.
Okay, I can kind of understand that because I find extreme tsundere very annoying also, but I think Toradora is the token exception, the show where it's worth putting up with the extreme soon nonsense.
Yeah. So I would really like to get my wife to watch this show. I think that she would really like it. She just needs to get past that little bit.
Has anyone actually talked to someone that doesn't like Toradora that's actually watched it?
I never have.
I cannot recall. Well, I think I would remember that.
I'm sure there's someone out there who doesn't like it, but it's one of those animes I can count as one that I've never actually run into anybody who hates this.
Okay, that's a good question for the week. Listeners, do you hate Toradora? Do you want to reveal yourself for our ire and mockery? If so, leave a comment. Okay, another thing I wanted to mention, and this I've been meaning to do for a long time, but I wanted to get a Japanese shoujo magazine on a monthly basis and read being kind of in quotes because my Japanese reading ability is limited, but the problem is you really can't get subscriptions through websites anymore. 15 years ago, a lot of sites had a system where you could subscribe to Nakayoshi or Shonen Jump or whatever, And you'd pay a lot, but you'd get it shipped to your door. But ever since the era of scanlations, the website stopped doing it. So, but now Wilson has found a time in his schedule when he can go to Kinokuniya in the city pretty regularly. So he's going to just pick them up for me on a monthly basis. So I have a couple of issues of Nakayoshi that I'm sorting through. He got me the October and December issues. Apparently the November issue was like impossible to find. I don't know. Maybe it's like had some flag manga in there or something. I don't know. It's making it so hard to find. But so I'm going through it, and it's interesting to see which series it's like I get nothing out of them, and which series it's like I don't even need to like take out the dictionary to like figure out what they're saying. Like because the latest, well, the new arc of Cardcaptor Sakura is running in Nakayoshi right now. And I don't know word for word what they're saying, but just because of knowing the context and knowing all the characters and everything, I have a pretty good idea what they're saying. So, I also started reading one, which actually just started a couple of months ago, called, I have a tab open with the name of it, so I wouldn't forget. Now can I find the tab? Ah, okay. Yuzu's Medical Records of Animals. And it's about a girl who... She ends up living with her uncle, who's a veterinarian, and then dealing with all these cute little animals who come in and have problems. And it's actually, like, pretty serious because, you know, you're dealing with medical problems. But the animals are really cute and stuff. And I'm hoping now that this series gets an anime. So a couple of seasons from now, I can be like, yes, I first came aware of it in Nakayoshi, reading it in the original Japanese.
I'll warn you, the last time I did that... I'm forgetting the name now. The one with the bear.
Kumamiko
happened, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't wish anything on this series. It might not go well. But I'm having fun going through the magazines. What I really need to do is sit down with my like kanji dictionary and my particle dictionary and like pick a story and actually go through and like pick out all the kanji I don't know. Like that's how I'm actually going to learn. But that takes like prolonged concentration. I just really have not had a good time to do that lately. I've just kind of been like flipping through it before I go to bed and stuff. But I hope I can make a habit of going through Nakayoshi, because that could kind of make the difference between my kind of weird, annoying, like sort of being able to read Japanese level and like actually being able to read it. And I've been in this kind of weird intermediary phase for like many years, and it's very frustrating. So it's really satisfying to finally be working on that. And one more thing I wanted to mention, I always like restaurant and food anime. I just started watching Ristorante Paradiso, which is about an Italian restaurant in Rome. But for some reason, a lot of these restaurant anime have really, really messed up, like, family dynamics. Like, I remember Antique Bakery is actually all about, like, a child molester, actually. And Ristorante Paradiso isn't quite that messed up, but the family relationships are still really screwed up. But it's interesting because it doesn't really use any anime sort of shorthands at all. I mean, there are no sweat drops. There's no anybody going chibi. Like, I don't know if it was originally in an adult manga magazine or what, but I'm kind of interested in learning more about it now because I like the fact that it's taking such a serious tack and doesn't feel the need to like do anything goofy. So I've only seen a couple episodes so far, so I don't know if I recommend it per se, but it is streaming on Crunchyroll actually. So just wanted to mention that. Okay. I mentioned things and I made it sound like I have a life. Yay! Of course, my life involves, you know, reading Japanese manga I can barely read and watching even more anime, so, you know. But,
are there better things that we could be doing with our time?
I could be cleaning my house.
Yeah, I could probably be doing that too, but, you know, what's the fun in that?
Anime and manga are a lot more fun than cleaning the house.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to this week's anime, starting with Yuri on Ice episode 9. And the last couple of episodes of Yuri on Ice have just been like 8 million tons of figure skating. Like, the last time we talked about Yuri on Ice, it was the first time they'd done one of those competition episodes that had like 5 or 6 routines in it. What we didn't know then is that is apparently the primary format for Yuri on Ice, because now like every episode going forward has been that. And even though, as much as I'm enjoying the show, I'm not sure how much the, like, 15 routines in every episode thing is really working for me, because I think it may be too ambitious for the show's own good. LB, what do you think?
I think from week to week, the big story moments that we've been having in each episode make up for the whole bit of, there being 15 routines in every episode. I think in the future, if I were to rewatch this series, though, I would probably fast forward through a lot of them.
It's kind of like, it doesn't bother me that the skating animation usually isn't super fluid, or it hadn't bothered me much up to this point, because, the story kind of transcends the specifics of figure skating. But when they give us these episodes that are just, person after person after person doing a skating routine, and then suddenly the limitations of the animation start to actually matter. So.
Yeah.
Lifesong, what about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely kind of tired of what Yuri on Ice has been doing. I will admit that I have not waited for the second watch that may or may not happen. I've already started skipping through parts of the sequences. I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. I don't need to see it again. Let's skip to the end. Get to the part where they tell me whether or not they fell over. And really, that's like the one and only distinguishing thing for me. It's like whether or not they fall down. That's it. If they don't fall down, they do great. If they do fall down, okay. I can just skip through, and then I'll find out at the end how they did. I missed nothing. Keep going. I don't know. I'm really just sick of all the repeated animation, and the fact that they're introducing a million. I hate calling characters unnecessary, but the scene's just. I feel like this whole story could have fit into like a movie. Like that's where it would have. That's what it really would have shined. And here we are with a million side characters that they're not uninteresting on their own, but they don't add anything. But
the story, they could probably be edited out of the story, and the whole
you wouldn't know they were gone.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think, because I still really really like Yuri on Ice, but like okay, there's one way of looking at it, is that it would be better off as a movie, or at least a shorter series. And not have all these routines. But I feel like, because I like the figure skating aspect of it, I don't mind having a bunch of routines, as Yuri goes through the competitions. But then they should be utilizing the animation to make those routines interesting. Because
I'll be clear. Yeah, I want to be clear. I'm not skipping any of them the first time they happen. The problem is that once I've seen them, I don't need to watch that skater once he gets out there again, because it's the exact same animation playing to the exact same music with the slightly different monologue.
Yeah. But it's just like, there's big differences with skating in terms of like, how fast someone's spin is and how high their jumps are. And if the animation was actually really making use of that, it would keep it interesting. But you kind of have to go by what the commentators say, because you can't tell the difference between the different characters spinning.
I actually do have one thing to say for the animation that I think really does stand out, and I don't know why they're only managing this for one character, but Yuri number 2. I can see what he's doing, why it's important, how it plays out. Like you just mentioned the high jump, which made me think of it. Like I noticed that he flew higher before the commentary pointed it out. That was cool. And in particular, I noticed in the earlier episodes he had the better animated scenes. Like maybe the animators like him more. I don't know.
Maybe they've decided that the wrong Yuri is the star, and they wanna.
Maybe they have, or maybe they just went through their list of characters, and he was number 1 on their list, and they did his first, and he got the better job.
Yeah, and by the time they get up to like skater number 14, they're like, oh, I don't even want to draw this triple Cal. He just doesn't jump, whatever. As we're recording this, episode 10 of Yuri on Ice has come out. I have not seen it. I was good. I waited, but I just know I've seen my Twitter profile be like, oh my god, Yuri on Ice! So we should have something substantial to discuss next week, besides a million people skating over and over again. Anything further on Yuri for this week?
Do we want to jump back a couple of episodes and squee wildly like little teenage girls about the kiss?
I don't know, LB. Would you like to do that? Is that something you enjoy?
Maybe for a second, but only because you forced me.
Did they kiss, or does Victor just kind of jump into his arms and it's not really clear? Are we sure they kissed?
That's actually the reason why I posted that screenshot to the chat, to the Discord chat, and asked did they or didn't they.
Oh, right. Okay, my bad. I remember now. You posted it, and then you were like, well, did they or did they? I was like, well, they did. Of course they did. It's Yuri and Victor. But then apparently it didn't make much of an impact on me.
Regardless of whether or not they kissed, they're in a relationship where Victor will fly across the world to go check on his dog.
Yeah.
What else even needs to be said?
Wait, isn't it Victor's dog, though?
No, this one is Yuri's dog.
Are you sure? Because I thought Yuri's dog had actually died, and then I'm so confused.
Wait, did Victor have a dog? I mean, his first...
Victor had a dog, and then Yuri got a dog and named it Victor after Victor. And then, yeah, you're right. Yuri's dog died, and Victor brought his dog, because that was the same breed when he appeared.
Right, so like when Yuri first saw Victor's dog, he thought it was like his dog come back from the dead, kind of. He was like, wait, it's too big to be my dog. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just totally missed all of that. Okay. I guess he went to get his dog.
Yeah.
That's less exciting.
It's less exciting, but, even still, yeah, this relationship has definitely taken some interesting turns over the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna have some things to discuss on that front next week. But for now, I think we're gonna move on to Keijo episode 9. And I'm surprised how invested I still am in Keijo, because I actually didn't watch 8 and 9 for a while. I think I actually just watched them this morning. And I was like, Keijo, I haven't watched it in a few weeks. Am I even going to care at this point once I put it on? But as soon as I put it on, then I was all like, yeah, Nozomi, do it. Yeah, you beat those snotty East people. They're not that good at Keijo. You put them in their place. Blah, blah, blah. So, apparently I'm still really, really into it.
It actually has a fun story with likable characters. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like, I was just thinking, like, how remarkable is it that, like, as a straight woman, I get very little to nothing out of the fan service, and I'm still, like, really, really invested in the show. That's a testament to something. I'm not sure what, but it's a testament to something.
I'm still talking to some of my buddies who are complaining about the lack of fan service, or that the fan service, they don't care about it. It's I don't know, it's funny.
Yeah, so what did you think of the big fight between Miyata, where she had to prove to her dad that she's still making use of her judo skills?
The one thing that that tackle at the end, that kind of stole. I think that was trying to kill me again.
The show was dangerous.
They did that. It's like that was wow. No, the thing with her dad, I think the thing that amused me the most was just how straight they played it, how they managed to make it work. Like if they would have gone off track at any point and treated it like, if they'd have acknowledged Japan's indecency laws or anything ridiculous like that, they would have completely ruined what they were doing. It's like, nope, they just played it straight.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like it worked kind of like a meta commentary on the show itself, like, oh, you think this is just stupid and a waste of time, but actually, there's some heart here, don't you think? So. Yeah,
no, actually, and I know this comparison, you haven't played them, but it was reminding. It has and continues to remind me a lot of why I like Senran Kagura series. It's like it does the same kind of thing with the storytelling.
That's an interesting comparison. I have some bad news though. It looks like your girl Alba is probably going to lose next time again.
I don't know. She needs. Well, she hasn't pulled out her Gate of Babylon yet, so maybe she'll pull something out. Who is she up against again? Remind me.
It doesn't matter who she's up against, but what's happening is they need to win. The first group to win 2 wins, and our girls just won the first bout, and Alba's up next. So I don't see how.
Shame.
Yeah, I don't see how she can win. I mean, it would actually be really cool if she won, and then they were just like, oh wow, we beat them really easily. That's funny, but Nozomi never even got to compete. But I mean, I doubt it's going to be that surprising.
Yeah, I mean, so if they win, then there's less tension for the third match.
No, if they win, then they wouldn't be fighting anymore. It'd be over.
Oh, it would be done. So if
Yeah.
Alba wins, it's aww.
And it's possible I misunderstood, but I did just watch it today, so I'm pretty sure that's what they said.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they were all competing regardless. I didn't realize it would be game out, game over if the one side wins 2 matches.
Yeah, but you know what they should really do? They should just have Kusakai be in, like, every bout, and that would put those snotty East people in their place.
Oh, right. Mio, right?
Yeah.
That's Mio. Oh, man. That's her stupid attack. It's like, is she trying to win? No, she's just here to hold the other 2 characters busy while the fight we care about's going on. And then as soon as that one ends, oh, okay, I guess I'll end my match.
But she's like... But I think she's pretty much invincible, though. So, I mean, they should just, like, triple bill her at all the matches, and I don't see how they'd have any problems.
She didn't even need to use her hypnosis.
I know, like, she has titty hypnosis for, like, totally, just, like, as a last resort sort of thing, and she never has to use it. That's how good she is.
She had to use it on Alba, but, I can accept that.
Okay, I hope that it would be really cool if they did something surprising and then they actually...
Yeah, I want to see it so bad.
Yeah. Okay, so Keijo, we're continuing to be shockingly invested. Moving on to Flip Flappers episode 9, and Flip Flappers has done a lot of things since we last spoke. It had like a pretty awesome like giant mech sort of episode that was cool. It had the episode with like 4 million different papikas, and that was cool. And the most recent one dealt with Yayaka, and we kind of learned that she's been kind of assigned to spy on Kokona from the beginning. So obviously, our suspicion that something's up with Kokona, that she wasn't just completely normal when Papika found her, seems to be confirmed. But I'm still really, really interested in it, but like, I don't really have one powerful takeaway from these last couple episodes.
Yeah, I think individually, and this has been a strength of Flip Flappers from the beginning, I think individually, every single episode is just really, really good. It's wrong to say they stand on their own. They all kind of build on each other, but they're just individually really, really good. I think I just watched the last episode before the podcast, so I still kind of need some time to process it. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with it. Like where they're going. Like I feel like it could go still like in a dozen different directions, but it's running out of episodes, so they need to let us know pretty soon.
Well, let me just ask you a nuts and bolts kind of question, because maybe you noticed something that I haven't. But you know how they've shown that Kokona has an amorphous that seems to be located in like her upper thigh, and Yayaka was going to dig that out in this episode, but then couldn't go through with it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming the amorphous inside Kokona is what allows her to transform into her flip-flapping form. Does oh shoot, what's her name? Not Pikari. Papika. Does Papika have one of those, have an amorphous inside her that we've seen?
No, not that we've seen, and I'm not sure if that's actually why Kokona has one, especially after the whole hospital episode, which was this episode. The implication, I'm not sure what they're going to pull with Kokona, or what happened with Mommy, or was that her name?
Mimi, I think.
Yeah, it's like they've got, in the last couple of episodes, they've opened a couple of like really, really big things that we have almost no real knowledge of. Like, they're big enough that the show's either going to explode in a horrific mess, or do something that is more than what I can probably predict. I'm not sure like that's what I said, but I said I'm not sure where they're going with it, because I mean, is that little thing what allows her to transform? Is it maybe a part of the dream that she brought out, and maybe it's even what's keeping her alive, and she is actually really sick, and that maybe her, I mean, for all we know, her parents had genetic defects that she has, and they're going somewhere like that with the story. We don't know. Yeah,
I mean, it's like when a new episode of Flip Flappers comes out, like I want to watch it, but I'm almost a little bit afraid to watch it just because it could go anywhere, and I don't put it. I I think the creators have the ability to shock me. So even though they haven't really shocked me so far so much, I know they could if they wanted to. So.
Yeah, well, I think that they have for me on a couple of, I don't know if shocked is the right word, but they've impressed me on a regular basis on an individual episode basis. Thematically, though, I feel like there's something I'm supposed to be getting out of it, and I'm not really sure what that is. And I kind of had several trains of thought before this episode. I'm not sure if I can keep going with any of them, so I don't know what to expect going forward, or what the theme of the story is really even trying to do.
Yeah, I just thought of another question before maybe you can help me with. That episode that kind of had the giant robot stuff going on. I think the implication was that they were going into the psyche of like the scientist guy back at Flip Flap headquarters, right? Maybe, kind of.
They may have been. One of the things that I did take away from this episode is that the evil organization, the things they're collecting, the amorphous they're collecting, are affecting Papka. She's a part of whatever their plan, process, etc. is.
Like the fact that she's starting to confuse Coconut with Mimi. You think that's because the amorphous are being stolen, or more of them are being collected, or?
It's no, when they collect those amorphous, they're sticking them in that thingy. We got to see, I don't know what it was. Looked like some crazy Evangelion thing. But regardless of what it was, when they stick it in there, that's when they do that, and then it immediately cuts to Papka panicking about Mimi and the line about how Mimi is her partner.
Right. Aww.
So they're if they are creating false memories for her or something along those lines, maybe I still kind of know where they're going with the story. If Mimi is a real person that was, forgotten about, or if Papka is actually from the alternate universe, or any combination of those things, which would fit. We don't have enough information to say they wouldn't. I don't know what they're doing with the story.
We just want to know. Tell us, Flip Flappers.
I'm fascinated. Secrets. It's rare that you're this far into a story. You know it's getting ready to end, and there's so many things that don't have a solid explanation. You're not sure if they ever will.
But it doesn't feel like it's an ass pull. At least not right now.
Not that could also be a problem, though, because if we get to the end and we don't have anything, then no, maybe it wasn't an ass pull, but it was never in anything. It was just it didn't matter, which would be a real shame, because I feel like this story has been leading us on for a long time now. So
yeah,
I'd still rate it very highly. I would just be a little disappointed.
Yeah, don't let us down, Flip Flappers. You can do it. Okay. So we wait with bated breath for next week's Flip Flappers 10. Moving on to Izetta 10, and I have a confession to make. I didn't officially drop Izetta, but I just never actually felt like watching the last several episodes. So I'll probably get back to it, but I'm not caught up. So shoot, I'm sorry, LB. I totally forgot if you're watching Izetta.
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Oh, cool.
Good. Okay. Then why don't you tell me what went on in Izetta and whether you liked it or not?
Izetta actually got really heavy over the last couple of episodes. They basically, first off, the two Germanian spies, the spies, for lack of a better word, the older one and the younger one. They kill off the younger one.
Oh, okay. I did actually see that episode. I haven't seen it.
Okay, you saw that episode. Okay, cool.
I think you're only one back. Mm-hmm. Or two?
2. So there was that, and then Germanians introduced their own witch, Sophie, who is a clone of the original White Witch. And I have to admit that even though I normally like redheads, Sophie is just so much more awesome.
Whoa, you're saying Sophie's more awesome than Izetta?
Yes.
Oh my god, okay.
Yeah, Sophie is pretty awesome. Sophie is badass.
Yeah, and then evil, I want to end the world kind of way.
Yeah, but I've always had a weakness for that.
As long as you know yourself.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, so that episode ends with Izetta bloody, beaten, and in chains being filmed for enemy propaganda.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So like I said, it gets kind of heavy. This basically episode 10 is just kind of Germania Strikes Back. And yeah, I want to think that the series is headed towards a happy ending. I just have no idea how they're going to get there.
Okay, now here's where I want the messed up thing. It needs to end on a tragic note. I will be disappointed if it doesn't.
Well, I've kind of felt all along that what's probably going to happen is Fine is going to save her country, but she's going to lose Izetta in the process. But that's not a very big prediction.
Or that Fine will die.
See, I think it would be more of a surprise if Fine died and Izetta lived, because I feel like they've been.
The episode title for next week is Fine.
Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they threw around some pretty massive death flags this week. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I've kind of had this sense of, and everyone was all talking about how they hated how Izetta was dropping the ball when they did the whole pie episode. I'm like, no, this is the episode that signaled me everything is going to go horribly wrong. This is the last little bit of fun we get, and yeah, everything is starting to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, that's actually totally fair to say.
Yeah, actually, the thing that got me kind of frustrated with Izetta is when they did the whole thing in the last episode I saw with the spies, where they know that the Germanian dude is a spy, or at least they heavily suspect that he's a spy, and they're watching him like 24/7, yet he somehow gets to the cathedral and gets the map or whatever while they're watching him, and they have to, like, kill him on the way out or whatever. It's like, how did they even let him get that far? Are they really incompetent?
You have to do a little bit of thinking to really understand the thought process of the guy protecting the place. Mm-hmm. But apparently he was looking for the other half of the magic stone, which you haven't seen yet. They show it, like, briefly, and my immediate assumption was that he was actually a bad guy. Spoilers, he's probably not. So there was a little bit more going on there.
Wait, so they basically, like, enemy Germanian spy got into the old capital special castle because they wanted him to, basically?
I don't know if they wanted him to or not, but the SIG had another German spy who was actually working for him, who picks up the stuff that they found in the cathedral after investigating it. So it seemed kind of implied that they were okay with letting people in there to look around. They weren't They weren't okay with letting anybody get away, but they were okay with letting them in there to look around.
Oh, see, I don't know if I just completely misunderstood the episode, or maybe it's explained later. But like when the other spy like took the map off the young spy, I thought that spy was also working for Germania. But
he might have been, but he was working for SIG, and SIG has. I was very confused when I first saw that too. But SIG is, I mean, maybe you can tell me if you feel otherwise, LB. But SIG, I think he's shown his true colors at this point, and he is very much on Fine's side. He wants to either on Fine's side, or my other suspicion would be that he's still lying to us, and he's actually one of the witches or part of the witches' cult, possibly. I don't know that they'll ever confirm that if that's true, though.
That seems kind of out of left field to me, but I have no right to say that since I'm not caught up. So
I think that he's just on Fine's side, working for his nation, trying to protect their interest, and will do anything at all to manipulate things in his favor, well, in the favor of what he considers to be in the favor of his country.
So I guess I should probably pick it back up before the end of the season.
I think it's worth it, just because I think they're going to have a good even if the series ends on a well, that was kind of silly note, I think it'll have a good emotional payout, which is what I want at this point. So,
okay. Anything further on Izetta, LB?
No, I just think that since you're already, 2 episodes behind, I would say, don't force yourself to get back into it. If you want, you can wait to see how we feel about the ending before you decide to plunge back in.
That's true. We can labor under the illusion that my time is valuable that way. No, yeah, maybe. I'll see how I feel, because whenever I remember I said a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, maybe I'll catch up on Occultic 9. Like, whenever I tried, that didn't happen. Whenever I try to catch up on anything, it doesn't happen. I'll watch something totally random, like Restaurant Paradiso, but then...
Occultic 9 is so good, though.
I know. I feel bad that you haven't had anyone to talk about it with. Oh, well. Someday.
That's okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Utapri, episode 10, and... LB, did you notice in the last episode of Utapri they actually did something? Something actually happened?
I am not caught up with Utapri. I watched episodes 8 and 9, but not the most recent episode. So which episode were you referring to?
Oh, man, I was talking about 10.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not caught 10.
Okay, well, this probably won't be, since you've seen the episode before, this isn't going to be that much of a shock, but, like, the thing that happens with Itoki, the redhead, and, like, the dude from Heavens, who is apparently some kind of weird hypnotist or something, yeah, there's fallout from that. Stuff happens,
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know what happened that the guy from Heavens is suddenly, like, friggin', like, Professor Xavier and can unlock your, like, deepest, darkest memories or something, but it was sort of interesting, so I'll go with that.
Honestly, that entire episode 9, with the dude from Heavens, I was so shocked that the entire episode didn't revolve around him giving himself a stroke because of how intense he was all the time.
Yeah,
Either that, or he didn't turn out to be some kind of, like, serial killer who was just trying to lure Itoki to this cabin out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. And, like, I thought, based on what we've seen of his character so far, I thought he was going to be one of the ones who was like, ugh, my band is so much better than Starish. I don't even want to have to breathe the same air as you, and yet I have to sing a duet with you. But instead, he's all like, we're going to make the best song in the history of music. No, these lyrics aren't good enough. I need lyrics ripped from your very soul. It's like, wait, what? Who is this guy?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. But just, you can be excited for the next episode of Utapri, because, like, a thing happens. So.
Okay, I will totally be waiting with bated breath for that.
Okay, I hope I haven't totally oversold it now. March comes in like a lion. You're up to episode 7, right?
Yeah, I didn't catch episode 8 yet.
I'm going to sound like a broken record. Something actually happens in episode 8.
Okay, I will keep that in mind, and next week I will be all caught up. Like I said, I just didn't get a chance to catch up with that one. 7
is, if I remember correctly, isn't 7 the one that deals with the baseball dude that the middle sister has a crush on, and they invite him over, but not, and then there's some learning about how to play shogi with cats, but then that's all that really happens?
Yeah, basically. And then, for some reason, I don't remember it clearly, but I have a note that says that I was really into this episode until the ending sequence, which was weird to me. But I don't remember what the ending sequence was.
Oh,
just that
the dancing cats doing shogi?
Oh, yes, God. Okay, now it's all flooding back to me. Oh, dear God.
I should probably warn you, they play that sequence again in episode 8. Not as the ending, though. Something separate.
Great.
But it's worth it. Something happens. You'll see.
Okay, I will totally take your word for that.
Okay, moving on to Kiss Him, Not Me. I didn't write down the episode number, actually, but I think we're up to episode 9. Episode 9 is the one where they go to the beach, and then some really nasty dudes try to hit on Kai, and then even the smallest guy who's into her, the young guy, is like, even I can protect Kai, even though I'm not big and strong like the other dudes. So, it was a charming, if very heteronormative episode. I don't really have much to say about Kiss Him, Not Me. I thought the whole, like, shipping episode was hilarious, and since then, it's just kind of been like, I still enjoy it, but I don't really have anything to say. It's just like, okay, it's settled into its little formula. What about you? Do you feel different?
I gotta say that the last 3 episodes have made me giggle. I've really enjoyed them quite a bit. The 2 big things that I have to say are the magical girl dance sequence in episode 8 was just freaking adorable.
Oh, how did I freaking forget about that? That was pretty special. Okay, I take it
Yeah,
back.
that was
a good
adorable.
episode.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really liked that. Plus, I saw on Facebook that Crunchyroll posted a video. The voice actor behind that particular member of the harem was actually so into the role that he literally learned how to do that magical girl dance and there's video of him doing it.
Oh, that's so cute. I have to see that.
Yeah, if you look on Crunchyroll's Facebook page from a couple few days ago, you'll probably find it. But yeah, it's really cute. And then the other thing is, the one thing that I haven't liked about these last few episodes was in the most recent episode, and when the young guy, whose name I don't remember, trips and falls face first into Kai's breast. It's like, I really thought this series was better than that. So,
yeah, and the series, it's really the only joke like that this show does, too.
Yeah, so it was just one of those little things of, you guys have done better jokes than this. You didn't need to resort to that.
It's almost like, here's your contractually obligated fan service gag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care for that either, but it's not enough to really affect my opinion of the show. I think I'm just like so numb to that after all these years of watching anime. It's just like, well, of course that was going to happen. but yeah, it is lame and doesn't really add anything. Okay, I'm interested to see how they're going to start wrapping this one up. If we're actually going to have like a final kind of story arc, or it's just going to continue doing these little episodic adventures where they, I don't know, go to the beach or go to do a dance and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't know.
See. Okay, moving on to a show I'm not watching, Magical Girl Raising Project Episode 10. I assume in the time since we've last podcasted, they've killed about 47 different people, so,
Holy shit.
You're underestimating the number if we include people on the highway.
I'm telling you right now, normally, Karen, you ask us who died this week. The easier question is who didn't die.
Okay, who's still left on Magical Girl Raising Project?
Let's see. There's Cranberry, Snow White. No, she's dead. Well, hold on. That one.
Snow White. It was. Oh my god.
Yeah, Cranberry, Snow White, Swim.
Sonic. I told you Sonic was going to last till the end.
Yeah, totally. That shocked me, but yeah,
she is like, holy shit, vicious psycho murderer.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that more cunning than anyone ever gave her credit for.
I'm pretty sure that if I were stuck in this universe, I'd probably get killed by her.
Do you find that frightening or exciting?
A little of both.
Okay, so a bunch of magical girls have been killed. There's only a couple left, but what are they like trying to do now? Or are they trying to kill Cranberry or what's going on?
We just got the big reveal this episode of what Cranberry's actually about. Fav is Cranberry's what is the word I'm looking for? He's basically her servant.
Familiar?
Familiar, yeah. And she is putting on a game, essentially looking for a student for some as of yet unknown problem in a whole other universe. They're looking to find somebody who has potential. That's basically what this whole thing is about. And supposedly it's supposed to be this nice, peaceful game that she's running, and she's a sadistic psychopath, so she's killing them all off unnecessarily.
Oh, so like her overlords, or whatever, in the other universe just wanted it to be a peaceful game, but she's like, I'm going to do it my way, and then just
basically.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, like and she is terrifying. There's this one of the girls can transform into inanimate objects.
Inanimate objects.
Inanimate objects. Thank you. and she's sitting there as a rock, getting ready to ambush this girl, getting ready to ambush Cranberry, and Cranberry you just see her fist go right into the rock. It's like, well, you know what that rock has to be. And the next thing you see, there's dead magical girl on the ground.
What is Cranberry's power? Do you know, or does she have more than one?
She hasn't needed to use it yet.
Yeah.
No, wow. She hasn't. She just
kills
them
people
up and kills them.
Yeah.
Like there was the episode with Lapuzel, which was, I still see that in my nightmares sometimes. She just beats the shit out of him.
Wow. I continue to enjoy hearing about the show and be glad that I'm not watching it. So.
Once Sister Nana kills herself, then
Sister Nana, after her girlfriend dies, she's depressed and she hangs herself. She wasn't even going to lose. She wouldn't have even died in the running if she was last place, because so many magical girls were killed in that particular segment, and she hangs herself.
Yeah, wow. So there's that. Though I think
that wasn't as bad as the pregnant magical.
Oh yeah,
there was a pregnant magical girl.
Yeah,
there's a housewife
hinting for a while. Like, I just need to live for a certain period of time. This show has made me cry on multiple occasions now. And it's like, I know what they're going to do, and then they do it, and you're like, damn it.
Wow. I have to admit that even with how dark and shocking this series has gotten, I have not cried once.
It was Speed, what was her name? Speed something? Top Speed? It was Top Speed and Hardcore Alice, and I didn't cry during Lapuzel, but I was disturbed.
Yeah, I've been disturbed by this series, but I've never actually shed any tears for it. I was very confused. I was very ambiguous, one of the other, about Calamity Mary. I wasn't sure how to feel about that.
What about how she went? What she did, or how she went down, or what?
How she went down. I'm not, because at the very least she kept things interesting.
Yeah, I mean the same can be said for the two Angel twins.
Yeah, the Angel twins not as much. Swim and Calamity Mary are the ones.
Swim and Calamity Mary they are the big antagonists. The thing is with Swim, and this is personal bias here. If I were stuck in a death game, there's certain ways I know I would act. If I were one of these characters, I'd either be, and I don't even know if I want to admit this, I'd either be Swim or Top Speed. It's like, you have to make a choice at the beginning how you want to deal with it. So I can forgive Swim just a little bit, because I understand being cunning in the way that she is. I'd like to think that I wouldn't do that, but then it comes to Calamity Mary, and I'm just like, no, you're evil incarnate. Die.
Well, the last time we spoke about the show, we spoke about the possibility of having to worry about the show getting so dark that you just stop caring. But apparently, it managed. That has not happened. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't still be into it.
I mean, it's certainly dark, but when they do the right things with it, like the scene with Top Speed dying, the timing comes out, and you're like, they have a little high five going on over their victory over Calamity Mary, and then pan to her having a sword wound because of Swim, which we haven't even seen Swim's power really in detail before that, so we didn't even know Swim could do that. And yeah, it's just it's hard to take. I don't know.
Yeah, I will admit, when I saw that little bit and I saw her body lying there, it was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah, the deaths actually hurt, which is one of the things that, like, in a death game like this, either you need to make me laugh or you need to hurt me. And it's not making me laugh, but it is doing the, oh god, that hurt.
Yeah, totally. I can understand that.
Okay, well, I look forward and also dread hearing about next week's Magical Girl Raising Fortune. Okay, moving on to the other show I'm not watching, Drifters. I believe we're up to episode 9. LB, how's Drifters going?
Episode 7 and 8 had some really interesting moments, but overall I didn't really care about them all that much. It was episode 9 that really got me back into the show and really made me care about how things were going, because it's revealed at the very end of the episode that Dark Jesus is actually... It's not so much that Dark Jesus is, like the more evil...
Dark Jesus is more like Jesus than is comfortable to say.
Yeah, basically, because he's basically doing the same thing. He's healing the sick and teaching people to be self-sufficient, except the side that he's chosen is the side of the monsters rather than the humans.
They show a little pig woman wearing like a farmer's hat and starting on the agriculture project that Jesus has given her.
Yeah,
and they're cultivating the land.
Yeah, so Jesus has basically chosen a new race to supersede humans in this new incarnation.
He says, my people have rejected me, so I will save these people instead. Which
exactly.
The thing that makes that interesting is that they're not just pulling that out of their ass. They're twisting stuff that you could pull out of the Christian Bible.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm kind of talking from a place of well, I mean, some of the fantasy stuff I write uses biblical stuff too in the same way. Well, not in the same way, but I mean in the way of using real stuff and then extrapolating it into a fantasy universe sort of thing. So when I say I think it's cool when people do that, I think it's especially cool because even I do that. So
yeah, it's really neat to see. Like we're going places in the story like this would not fly in America. There'd be people pissed.
Yeah, this would not fly on American television.
Oh,
I mean, there are people who would love it too, so I don't know for sure that it wouldn't be successful, but it would really piss a certain crowd off really, really bad.
But do you remember a couple of months ago there was that whole blow up about how like Evangelion is actually for the alt-right or something stupid like that?
I never heard that.
I did see that and I ignored it. Was it actually something I should have paid attention to?
No, you paid it exactly the amount of attention it deserved. But but like maybe this will be the new thing where like articles on sites that don't actually like cover anime at all write about like, this new anime Drifters, it's saying that Jesus has rejected humanity. And it's saying that people should stop being Christians because Jesus rejected them or something.
Or I'll tell you what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the Christian blog post that actually supports it, because it is in line with his actual teachings and explains how evil the people are in the show and why they're evil. Because you could totally run with that angle.
There is a Christian anime blog that specializes on analyzing anime from a Christian perspective. It's called Beneath the Tangles, I think.
Oh, yeah, I haven't read them.
I've heard of that site.
I wonder if they have anything to say on it. Now I have to go check.
Yeah, if he hasn't had anything to say on it, you should just casually ask him if he's watching Drifters.
I think I might.
Okay. Let's see. So they rescued the elf ladies. They're okay for the time being?
Yeah, they're fine now.
Yeah, we've moved on now. We had a little brief segue where they fought Joan of Arc and Giles, and now we're off to rescue the dwarves.
The what?
The dwarves.
Oh, the dwarves. Okay, so you got elves, so you also have dwarves. Okay.
Yeah, basically, there's all these fantasy races in this world. It's kind of like World War II in Middle Earth.
I can totally.
That's what it is,
that.
right?
Yeah,
no,
totally.
They even had the little godlike guy or Satan guy, like whatever he is, explain his motivation for picking drifters, and basically they're innovators. He's got innovators versus revolutionaries fighting, duking it out in this other world. And the innovators are all like people like Nobunaga and Toyashi, and I'm looking at the list. I'm like, oh, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense. I have no idea why Billy the Kid was included. Why is he there? Is he there for any reason other than to give Nobunaga a Gatling gun?
So far, no.
Well, anyway, yeah, Nobunaga has now seen a Gatling gun, and his ambition has gone insane. And he also saw the magical communication device, and he's just flipping out at these concepts. And he's the one that figured out why the drifters are picked. And so that, I don't know. I really, really love where they're going with the story and what they're like. At the very least, it's the most interesting depiction of Nobunaga I think I've seen in an anime.
And there have been quite a few.
There have been quite a few, yeah.
Okay, that sounds neat. I mean, I still don't really want to watch it just because I feel like from what I've heard, the whole tone of the show just isn't for me. But it sounds cool that it's really inventive, I guess. I can't really think of a better way to put it.
It's just interesting. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I'm moved on to the last show on the list, which is Girlish Number, episode 8. We wanted to discuss Girlish Number for a while, but Lifesong wasn't caught up on it for a while. And I know you said you had trouble getting through some of these episodes because of Chitose, and I can understand that because she's such a bitch, and she's a dumb bitch, but for some reason I find it charming instead of frustrating.
It's the dumb part that I think that bothers me more than anything else. It's the it's the entitled part. I can't stand that kind of entitled personality. It just drives me crazy. See, it's a really good show, though.
I find her entitlement, I guess, is just so over the top that like it doesn't bother me the way like actual entitled people do. I guess I don't know. Because I don't mind. I really don't mind her at all, even though a person like her in real life would be insufferable. So. I've come to terms with her now, and I kind of realize that at least she's self-aware is the wrong term. She kind of gets it a little bit, and just doesn't care. There's a moment in the show where I'm like, it was kind of a turning point for me, where Godo, I think his name is, she's all whining about how people on the internet were really mean to her, and she's like, I didn't do anything wrong, and he shortens it to I didn't do anything. Well, he doesn't say that to her, but as he's walking away, it's just like the show knows what it's doing. This is all intentional, so I can't hold it against it too much. Yeah, I kind of feel like with Chitose, she is actually learning and changing a little bit, but she's not going to change from being like selfish, entitled brat to like Mother Teresa overnight. It's kind of taking her emotions a while to catch up with what she's learning, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and kind of. I mean, I'm kind of wondering if the show is even going to give her a career in voice acting when we're done with this. I kind of suspect it's going to end without one. I don't see how they're going to redeem that at this point. So it would be her moving on to something new, maybe. I don't know. And she's actually become less important in the more recent episodes.
Yeah, the more recent episodes, it focused on the two other successful voice acting girls. I actually really like that little story arc where Moeka, I think her name is, the blonde one.
Yeah, I don't know their names. The blonde one and the
dark-haired one.
The purple one.
Yeah, the purple one. Like the purple one, her father is all set because she's taking photos in swimsuits, and he doesn't approve of that sort of thing. And Moeka is just like, realize, wait a minute, my parents would not give a shit if I did that. And like realizing that she wishes her parents were actually protective of her, I thought that was actually, well, very, very true of what I know of kids who go into show business. But also just, I thought it was really nicely handled, that they didn't, it was just, because like there's that moment where she says to her mom, oh, I got some offers to do like swimsuit modeling or something, and she waits to hear her mom's reaction, and they don't overplay it. It's subtle. Yeah, no, they did a good job with it. They make it so like, at first she thinks her mom is concerned about her, and then they play it a little further, and you're like, oh, the concern was about her career. You're a professional now. They say that repeatedly. Yeah, I thought it was really good too. I found I could actually relate to both characters kind of in a weird sort of way. Yeah, meanwhile, more so than I can with other characters in the show. Like Kuzu, is that his director dude's name? Not director. Garbage. Yeah, garbage guy. How did he ever have a job? Like I don't understand. Oh, I think I understand him at this point.
and I've actually started to feel bad for him now that I kind of get it. And they even said it. There was one little line that explained everything I needed to know about his character, and that was when the guy who's kind of responsible and tries to fix everything that's going on says, "You might not believe this, but he was actually incredible at his last job."
Oh,
back before he got promoted into this job that he has absolutely no capacity for at all. And then there's the scene where he's completely drunk and wasted, and they're talking about how they're going to, replace him. He's cheering them on. He's completely given up. It was actually really depressing for me when I realized, that's his part in this.
Oh, okay. I heard that line about how you wouldn't believe this, but he was amazing in his last job, and it kind of made me go, but for some reason it didn't click for me that, he's been promoted to this position that he's no good at. I just was kind of waiting for more information on that. But now hearing you say it, yeah, that's probably exactly what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is. It's it's not that. I mean, he is completely incompetent. He ruins everything he's involved in. And I think he's completely aware of all of that. And, he's getting paid to do it. So he's going to keep going.
And at first, when I first started watching the show, I wasn't sure how interesting voice acting was going to be. But, it's not even really... I mean,
it's not really about voice acting. They could be working at a McDonald's.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the dark side of Shirobako to me, that it's more about anime production in general. But yeah, I mean, you could generalize it, and they could be doing some other kind of work too. But it's just kind of like
I feel like there is commentary about the anime industry, but I kind of find myself rolling my eyes at the actual commentary that ends up in the show. And the part of the show that I actually really like is the more human side of it, the side that really you could apply to any working position. That's not just show business or acting.
Well, do you kind of roll your eyes at the commentary in the anime industry because you think it's just so banal,
They're just playing it so strong. It's just it's heavy-handed, the word I want.
Yeah, I
don't want to say forced, because it's actually doing a good job at not being forced, considering how heavy it is, how thick it is. But I feel kind of disgusted, like I need to go take a shower after I watch an episode because of how thick it is.
Yeah, I can. Well, okay, I haven't felt the need to take a shower, but I can kind of see that. It's interesting though that they are doing kind of such a broad criticism of anime, because as we were discussing, they've shown the capacity to be subtle with this show, but their criticism of anime.
They're subtle with some really good things. And then they get back to the anime stuff. It was like one of the moments I roll my eyes at, where they have the poor light novel author, and he just completely loses his mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, come on. Not only is that not funny in this particular story, that's just why. I realize it's a light novel author that wrote this story. So maybe there's some self-deprecation going on there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I find Girlish Number to kind of be a nice palate cleanser from everything else this season, because it's just so. I mean, even though the criticism of the anime industry is pretty broad and everything, I mean, just a lot of the subtle character moments, no one has special powers, no one's doing anything over the top. Although I guess you could consider Chitose's whole character kind of over the top, but I don't know. I just kind of.
I like it. I wouldn't call it a palate cleanser in particular. It's that one anime that I will continue every week to be like, I don't want to start that episode right now, and then I enjoy it when I actually do. So, I kind of get what you're saying, though. It is nice to have it, not necessarily more realistic, but down to earth.
Yeah. I guess that's a good way to put it. Okay, so I've come to the end of my list of shows. Is there anything you guys wanted to mention that we have not so far?
You're all missing out on Occultic 9.
I know. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, well, clearly, everybody out there, you should go catch up on Occultic 9 to make Lifesong happy. But in between watching episodes of Occultic 9, then you can also maybe go to iTunes and give us a review or something like that if you feel like it. I promise I won't announce that at the end of every episode, because that would get annoying. But I figured I'd do it one more time, just the hell of it, while I remember. And I think we're done for this week. So thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, LB and Lifesong.
Yep.
And good evening.
Have a good night.